December of 1992 and 78,000 at Arrowhead to see who gets the final spot in the AFC playoffs, the Denver Broncos or the Kansas City Chiefs. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy. A magnificent day in the mid-40s for this game, 16, and it comes down to the winner goes on.
Not fun, though. When you wrap all of your football team's emotion into one game, you either win or you go home. Coaches are never comfortable, and neither are players, Dick.
But this is the start of the playoffs for the Broncos and the Chiefs, and for John Elway, who returns but not 100%.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting last night we talked to John Elway. He said, look, last week I saw a receiver open downfield, and I really thought he was too deep. I did not think I could get him the football. He's not thrown the ball a lot this week. His shoulder is still stiff. He's not 100%.
Said I'm going to have surgery on my left shoulder. That hurts when they hit me, and my right shoulder hurts whenever I throw. And he may have to kick today as well.
Interesting. He's the backup kicker. Daloiso, the long kicker, the kickoff guy, has been forced to be elevated to the head punter, the lead punter, and John Elway will back him up.
Another keynote for the Denver Broncos, a man named to his first Pro Bowl earlier this week, linebacker Michael Brooks, is not in uniform today.
Yeah, and he's going to be replaced by Carl Mecklenburg. Now, last week, the last time this happened, Carl Mecklenburg took the other spot, but Mecklenburg is going to be in Michael Brooks' spot. Keith Traylor will play the other inside linebacker spot, and he will take Mecklenburg's spot. It's not a spot that Mecklenburg is uncomfortable with, but Dick, it is another change in their defense.
The Chiefs 6-1 at home this year, and the Broncos have the reverse record, have been terrible on the road, winning only one time. Harvey Williams is deep along with rookie Dale Carter, and there it is. Denver 7-1 at home, completing their home schedule, but winning only one on the road. But the Elway versus Schottenheimer is a factor. He's beaten Schottenheimer 9 out of 10. Daloiso again kicks the ball right out of the end zone. He has kicked 61 times all year, and only 12 have been returned. We'll see him as a punter as well. And here comes David Craig, acquired from the Seattle Seahawks. And on the no-play kickoff, already some early emotional skirmishes. As we check now the starting offensive unit in red, the Kansas City Chiefs have a big line. Aldzot Babb, the former Cleveland Brown, as Tim Grunhardt wanted to play, tried to warm up, and he said, I can't go today. Todd McNair, leading receiver. Barry Ward, he gets the job as the running back. Burton and Davis outside. Hayes, the tight end. Tony Hargain and Tim Barnett when they go to their four-wide unit. From the 20, Word the setback. And Craig comes out throwing to the tight end, incomplete. Keith Cash. He's caught only 12 all year. The Chiefs not known for passing to the tight ends. Defensively for Denver, Shane Dronette, the Texas rookie, 6.5 sacks. Greg Cragen on the nose. Walker, Kroll, Mecklenburg trades places with Brooks, with Traylor taking Mecklenburg's spot, and Simon Fletcher has a career-high 14 sacks. Braxton and Demery at the corners. Smith and Atwater, two hitters at safety. Lilo Lang and Wyman Henderson come in the dime. Craig changing his play. And it's Word. Dronette trailing the play. The rookie, number 99, makes the hit after a yard gain. 3rd and 9.
Dick, you can see the psychology of the game early here. These two teams know each other so well. You saw the last-second defensive move by the Denver Broncos. Wade Phillips waiting till the audible is called by Dave Craig, then shifting his defense to try to ruin the audible.
You saw the passing unit come on for Marty Schottenheimer's Chiefs as the son of Bum. Wade Phillips works the defensive strategy from the far sidelines. Triple right. Craig from the shotgun. 3rd and 9. And it's Fletcher, number 15. Simon Fletcher, who has the credentials for the Pro Bowl but has never earned that honor, has 15 sacks this year.
In this division, I think Junior Seau and Derek Thomas get all the press. And in this particular season, Fletcher has gotten more sacks than both of them. An underrated player, a player with great speed. His only problem, he's a very private individual. He doesn't really look for publicity.
Doesn't cater to the press. Parker nails one toward midfield and drives Arthur Marshall back to the 40-yard line, and a fair catch there. 45-yard punt, and here comes Denver on its first turn with the ball. Freeman, Davidson, Karts, Wydell, and Lanier, the veteran, on the offensive wall. John Elway returned last week after missing 4 games, all defeats. Green also returning from injury. Shannon Sharp leads in receptions. Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, familiar names, wideouts. Reggie Johnson, the tight end, and Reggie Rivers will also see plenty of duty. It is Rivers and Green behind Elway. The flag goes down, illegal procedure, and the fans so sophisticated now around the NFL, making an incredible amount of noise for the first play of the game for Denver, and there was a procedure call.
False start, number 67, offense.
Doug Wydell, ticketed by referee Johnny Greer.
Wydell is standing right next to the center, too. You can see how difficult it is. That 76 Ken Lanier we're looking at. They call it on Wydell, but the Denver Broncos are going to resort to the hand-holding in past situations to try to combat the noise. Dan Reeves said what it forces you to do is simplify the offense, and the big problem is you get your quarterback killed.
Well, the NFL is going to have to address it. It's becoming an increasing problem, and it's the home field advantage. Everyone has it. But should the crowd totally interfere with a fair chance for the opposing team? Not much there at all for Greg Lewis, as the former Washington star is drilled by Dan Saliamua. For the Chiefs, Neil Smith going to the Pro Bowl. Phillips, the ex-Charger, and Saliamua. Leonard Griffin, a 4-3. Chris Martin, Tracy Simeon, and Pro Bowler Derek Thomas are the backers. Dale Carter's had an outstanding year as a rookie, replaces Albert Lewis at that corner. Kevin Ross, another solid season. And here are the men who come into the dime defense when they use the 7 DBs. On second down and 13. Shannon Sharp from Elway, a short gain to the 41. It'll be third down and 9. Lonnie Martz made the hit for Kansas City.
Dick, the Denver Broncos have run 3 plays, and in all 3 plays, an offensive lineman was either late getting off the ball, and in one instance, an offensive lineman jumped. Already, first series, first 3 snaps, the crowd noise having a big effect on the Denver Broncos.
78,000 strong at Arrowhead. Those are Elway numbers. 9 touchdowns, 15 times he's been picked off.
Screen.
He has to throw it away. Well read by the defense. Joe Phillips there to make sure that Elway didn't scramble.
They were trying to set up a screen, and of course when you play the Kansas City Chiefs, the guy you got to handle is Derek Thomas. Both the tight end Johnson and Ken Lanier double team Derek Thomas. He's not had a sack in a month.
And here comes Brad DeLuise. He's punted 4 times. That's his NFL career punting opportunities. Dale Carter at the other end did not punt at UCLA. Punted only 4 times in high school. Carter at the 15. Oh, trouble. Ball loose, and the signal is what? Kansas City, I believe, finally fell on it. J.J. Burton appeared to be the right man in the right spot to recover the muff by Dale Carter. Oh, my.
Dick, this is a rookie, and in pressure games, you look for nerves early. In the case of Dale Carter, a very sure-handed punt receiver, that ball absolutely ate him up. It could be a case of nerves early.
Welcome back to Arrowhead. A 41-yard punt by Brad DeLuise. He kicked 4 times when Mike Moran was injured earlier in the year. That gives him 5 for his career. Elway's punted 7 times. 41
yards in his first punt here after he practiced all week. Excellent punt.
From the 18, Kansas City's second possession. And it's Word. A couple of yards to the 20. Greg Cragen, number 71 on the nose,
and that
making a hit.
Excuse me, Dick. That is a huge matchup. Grunhard is out again. It's Babb, the aging veteran, against Greg Cragen. Cragen, one of the strongest and most active nose tackles. And if the Kansas City Chiefs cannot win that matchup, that particular matchup, center on nose tackle, they have very little chance of running the ball today.
Cragen, who replaced Reuben Carter at the nose, so they've had the same couple of guys playing that position for almost 20 years. Denver on 2nd and 8. Out of the backfield, it's Word. Gets 6 yards to the 26. Dennis Smith, the veteran from Southern California, up to make the stop.
Not a big receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, just his 9th of the year. With a certain amount of agility there. That ball is thrown low. You can see again Denver coming with a blitz, 54 up the middle, trying to confuse Kansas City ever so slightly at the last second. Word at 240 pounds still takes a heavy shoulder from Dennis Smith, one of the game's great hitters, Dennis Smith.
3rd down, 1.5 yards. Met rudely at the line of scrimmage. Carl Mecklenburg, and the ball pops free. I didn't hear a whistle, but Kansas City maintains control, although they do not make the first down. Mecklenburg denied the Pro Bowl this year 5 times going to Hawaii. The albino rhino with a charge on that one.
The experience of Carl Mecklenburg, he reads it perfectly. This guy can play anywhere in the front 7 and play well. You see the left guard Zott, 79, could not get out there and really get a shoulder on Mecklenburg, and therefore Mecklenburg able to make the tackle.
So 3 possessions, 2 by Kansas City. No first downs in this opening quarter. They've played 5 minutes plus. Barker's punt is a beauty, driving Arthur Marshall back to his 20-yard line. And Marshall skitters 12 yards on the return to the 32. A 54-yard punt by Brian Barker. Timeout. Glorious day in Kansas City. I've worked Kansas City Royal baseball games when the weather wasn't this nice.
Yeah, you don't expect it this late in December to have a clear, sunny day and people in just sweatshirts, Dick.
Perfect day to play and to watch. As Elway and Denver start from the 32. No first downs either side yet. Gaston Green on a little swing out to the 38-yard line where Chris Martin made the stop.
Dick, it doesn't take long for defenses to catch on to what the offense is doing, and so far I've not seen John Elway look downfield at all. I mean, he's looking for the outlet guys. They're running very short patterns. And as I said, it's not going to take long for Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator, Marty Schottenheimer, to say, wait a minute, until this guy can show us today he can throw it deep, we're going to press these guys short.
Mark Jackson, the veteran from Purdue, out to the right. And it's Green. Nothing there. Gets close to the 40 where it'll be 3rd down and a long 2. Green, who leads Denver with 618 yards. Dave Adolph, the coordinator defensively for Kansas City, anticipating the call on 3rd down, and it's about 2.5.
You know, Marty Schottenheimer gets all the press about being Elwayed. Dave Adolph has been the defensive coordinator with Marty Schottenheimer in Cleveland, and this year
on the spot, it's 3rd and 3. Bill Moss, who is back with Kansas City in the lineup. Elway guns it. Almost picked off by Dale Carter, the Tennessee rookie.
Boy, that's great credit. You got a lot of confidence in a rookie cornerback when you assign him in a pressure game like this, man on man. Bump and run. Jackson, a very experienced receiver. Carter has been handed this job early in the season when Albert Lewis got hurt. He has played well.
Brad Galoiso, second punt, and he hammers a line drive spiral to the 10-yard line. Carter, who has 2 touchdowns on punt returns this year. Back to the 29. 51-yard punt, 19 on the return by Carter.
Both of these teams appear at the outset of this game, Dick, looking for something to ignite them. You know, they don't want to go out and make the big mistake, but they do want to make a play that kind of turns the psychology of the game to your side of the field at the outset.
Kansas City with its best starting position. They've started at the 18, the 20, and now the 29. Dave Craig ducks his head in the huddle. And the 34-year-old from Milton College, Wisconsin. There's his career numbers. Here's the word. And he's met by Keith Traylor. And Traylor doing just that. As soon as the ball was handed off to Word, he was tagging him for a loss. Well, they may give forward progress to the line of scrimmage.
Traylor is a guy who at 260 pounds is a secret weapon for the Denver Broncos. Now Michael Brooks hurt. Traylor's got to play. This is Traylor right here. Watch the fill again. Excellent job. Kimball Anders, 38. The running back just runs right by Keith Traylor. You can't ever pass a linebacker when you're out there blocking ahead of a running back.
What a bittersweet week for Michael Brooks, named to his first Pro Bowl and then unable to play in what amounts to a playoff game today. Word again. Gets to the 30, just across where it'll be third down and around 9, and neither team able to run the ball thus far. Greg Cragen, Shane Dronette make the tackle.
Again, there's the nose tackle for the Denver Broncos. He's getting right on Mike Babb's shoulder, and Babb can't move him off the line of scrimmage. This is a matchup that Kansas City has to win. Their bread and butter is running the football.
And that's the question you ask Marty Schottenheimer. What has happened to that running game that was so powerful, so tough to stop, that is averaging only 3.5 yards a game per rush this year, and thus far today 5 carries, 3 yards.
Well, the absence of Grunhard, the normal center, is one factor.
Craig from the shotgun goes to the sidelines. Is it a catch? No. Ruled out of play. Tony Hargain, although he was hit in midair, the official saying he would not have come down in play anyway.
Ball thrown high. Hargain does a good job. Yeah, way out of bounds. Excellent and easy call by the officials. And so far, the Kansas City Chiefs doing nothing offensively.
Nor have the Broncos. 3 punts in 8 minutes of play for Kansas City. Marshall drifting back inside his 25. Barker sends another high spinner. Marshall fair catch at the 24. And with it a timeout. 6:33 left in the opening scoreless quarter. Backup quarterback now, Tommy Maddox, who's had his turn this year, picked out of UCLA after just 2 years of play with the Bruins. He symbolizes the youth of this Denver team.
And if you look at the team's problems on the road, 1-6, it's kind of an inherent problem with a young team. They have to learn how to win on the road, no matter how many veterans you have, Dick. And of course, this is the first real pressure situation Reeves has seen his young team in this year.
Well, 4 losses were when Elway was not playing. No yardage at all to speak of either side. This is the 6th possession, 3 by each. Screen, and reading it well was Dan Saliamua as he swallows Gaston Green.
But again, Dick, very obvious that Denver's choice early, throw it short. Not get the ball down the field. Saliamua read that perfectly. They did not disguise it.
-5.
At some point, the Broncos have got to throw this thing down the field just to loosen up some of the defense.
At Pittsburgh takes the early lead against Cleveland, a critical game for the Steelers as teams fight for home field advantage in the playoffs. 2nd and 15. Crowd on its feet again. Elway underneath to the tight end Reggie Johnson. Gain of about 6. Chris Martin and Martin Bayless the stop. We get a report that the Chiefs' Willie Davis twisted left ankle will probably return.
From behind the defense, he looks all the way from the right over the left. Looked good on that delivery. Lots of RPMs on the football. And John Elway now and Dan Reeves, I believe, gaining a little confidence in his shoulder. That's vintage John Elway.
And you can see him wince as he threw it. He said it's sore today than it was a week ago, that the toll of last week's game has carried some pain. Able to rip free and save a sack. That was an Elway-esque effort.
But Dick, you remember last night when we talked to John Elway, he said, you notice the one thing I didn't do last week is throw on the run. That's the thing that really hurts my shoulder and hurts it a lot. He had to get the ball away there to avoid the sack from the reverse angle. You wonder why this is not called intentional grounding?
Boy, Bill Moss almost with a sack. And Deluiso with a flag down to Carter. Bobbles another one, but recovers and takes it to the 39-yard line. Now let's see the penalty. Illegal man downfield by Denver. We would guess Kansas City will take the ball close to their own 40.
Dick, if we go back to the last play, here's Elway after Moss grabs a hold of him. Still one of the strongest quarterbacks in the league. And then you see Mickle 92 chasing him. Well, he fell on the right shoulder. That's the one he can fall on. The left shoulder, as you said, is the one that really hurts when he falls on.
Kansas City declines a penalty. They will indeed start from near their 40-yard line when we return to Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City. Coming off their 91 season, the Chiefs started this year with a reputation, you better stop their run, and defenses have. 3.4 the average, and Okoye, Word, Williams, none of those three able to average more than 4 yards per carry.
Not even close. And this is basically the same offensive line, although they're missing Grunhard at center and a kid named Derek Graham, who's missed almost the whole season at tackle, but not even close to the kind of running game that the Chiefs want.
Dave Craig with a little play action, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Shane Dronette continues to build a positive reputation. This 275-pounder, 6 feet 6 inches tall, from the University of Texas. He was our #2 draft pick.
Actually, Dave Lutz, the offensive guard, did an excellent job on Dronette. Kept him at the line of scrimmage. He made no penetration, but then he puts his hands up, knocks the ball away.
Craig 1 for 4, 7 yards, but was sacked once for 6 yards. So they have a +1 yard passing the ball, and running the ball they have a total of 4 yards.
Ugly numbers
for 4 possessions. Incredible, unlikely first quarter. On 2nd and 10, J.J. Burton punished for a 2-yard reception, as coming up quickly from the corner was Wyman Henderson.
Ball not thrown well. Not thrown well, and you see the Denver Broncos choice here. They've got a 3-3 front. 3 defensive linemen with Fletcher on the top and 3 linebackers trying to put pressure. You also see Kroll 51 on the blitz on the inside, doing a lot of different things. Denver's defense is.
3rd down and 8. Wade Phillips admitting yesterday, as we chatted with him, that we know each other so well, I don't figure to be surprised, and we probably won't fool them either. Simon Fletcher with the pressure, and Craig stepping away, but right into the arms of Mecklenburg. Fletcher made the play, and Mecklenburg there to make sure that Craig didn't shake loose.
Well, not a bad combination. You've got Simon Fletcher down here. You got Carl Mecklenburg up here. Basically 2 linebackers that they have so much faith in to rush the passer. They put him down in an obvious pass situation, and Mecklenburg comes up with a sack after Fletcher flushes the quarterback from the pocket.
Incredible first quarter. We're going to have 4 possessions aside in the 1 period, and there's still 3.5 minutes to go as Marshall from the 24 has enough speed to elude a couple of Chiefs before he's ridden out of bounds at the 31-yard line. A flag is down. Tahan Lewis finally made the tackle, a 38-yard punt, 8 yards on the return.
Gee, we saw the opposite end of this game, Dick, when we did Buffalo-San Francisco in a game there were no punts. So we're paying for that game today.
For the first time in NFL history, no team punts. And the field position is the only dramatic note.
22, kicking team.
Alton Montgomery.
Correction, 22, receiving team during the kick. The penalty will be assessed from the spot of the catch.
So that's negates the return of Marshall, so it's 10 yards plus the loss of the 8 on the return. So the one point we can make about this first quarter, where neither team has a first down, neither team able to move the ball, field position has been changing, eroding for Dan Reeves' Broncos. They had the 40-yard field position early, and Kansas City was inside the 20. Now it's the Broncos back on their own 13.
But Dick, with these two offenses' numbers, it's little consolation. I mean, unless the defense scores here, I don't know what we're going to have a score.
Gaston Green, the fake to him, and the throw goes through Mark Jackson's hands. Elway a little tall, but Jackson should have had it.
Another factor in the game told to us by Dan Reeves last night. Because of injuries to receivers and John Elway's shoulder problem this week, they did not work in pads. Tried to work on the mental aspect of the game, become a little sharper. And when you're in a must-win situation, I think coaches would like to keep things as normal and regular as possible. It wasn't possible this week for Denver.
20 total yards accumulated by the teams, 16 by Denver. Draw to Greg Lewis, and Lewis kicks out to the 22-yard line, where Tracy Simeon, who is second for the Chiefs in tackles this year, makes the stop. That is a scintillating effort offensively to gain all that yardage. 9 on the play. 3rd and 1.
A huge play here.
Will we get a first down in the first quarter in Kansas City? 2:38 to go. Oh, the toss back to Elway. Marshall is wide open at the 40. Mincy in the chase along with Ross, and they corral him at the 16-yard line. The flea flicker works for Denver, 63 yards.
And John Elway could not get the ball all the way to the receiver. The receiver had to stop. Marshall makes the catch. Here he is on the, he does a good sales job. He gets the safety to bite up here, throws it back. There is nobody close. But if Elway can throw this ball out in front of Marshall, I think Marshall scores. Watch out. He has to wait on the football. And that allows Mincy, 42, to catch up. But we finally get our first down.
Dan Saliamua injured on the play. They attend to him back at the 22. As you see Elway again, that's all he's got. And he admitted that he just can't throw it as long as he could when he was healthy. Well, we finally have a first down. It took a 63-yard play to do it. 62 officially.
And in the playbook of the Denver Broncos, I think that Dan Reeves gets a little upset with people calling this stuff trick plays. He calls them exotic plays.
Now Saliamua, a valued member of that Chiefs defense, limping off.
Well, now it begs the question, do you go to a three-man front or do you stay with the 4? They've still got a 4-man front in there, Dick.
And they're going with a rookie, Darren Nickel from Florida. He was that supplemental pick made by Kansas City after the draft. Tom Sims is in there as well. On first down, Green. Nice little cutback by Green, who wanted to go outside. Saw that there was no opportunity. Bayless had shut him off, so he moved upfield to the 11. 1:41 left in the first quarter. How the Chiefs done in that red zone defensively. Last 4 games, 11 invasions, and they've given up 9 touchdowns. And 2nd and 6. Elway on a bootleg. Dropped right in the arms of Carter. Dale Carter had that one for a touchdown.
Dick, it's nerves. He's dropped 2 punts now and an interception right in his hands. Nice rollout, good sell by the offense of the Denver Broncos. It's Shannon Sharp through his hands. Oh, my goodness.
It was only Elway in his way for about a 95-yard touchdown.
That's nerves. Got to be.
3rd and 6. Second receiver is open. Touchdown, Reggie Johnson, the tight end. And Denver has the early lead.
Dick, that's a blown assignment on the defense. He was totally uncovered. No one went with Reggie Johnson at tight end.
Reggie Johnson waits until the last game of the regular season to catch his first touchdown pass. Is that a big moment? 6-0.
On the road for this team, 1-6. They've now scored 7 offensive touchdowns on the road in 1992. It looks like Mark Jackson, number 80 of the Denver Broncos, in the end zone being attended to.
Somebody covering him well. That appeared to be where Elway, when we look at it again, Elway was looking to Jackson initially. That was the primary target, and all of a sudden he spun toward the end zone, and there was Johnson all alone. So they attend to Jackson now on his feet. The Broncos, and they mentioned this yesterday to us, they're already thin at wide receiver. Almost every man there other than Jackson and Vance Johnson playing with some nick, and now Jackson helped off the field.
But you know, Dick, in a 16-game season that takes 17 weeks to play, and a 4, 5, or 6 exhibition game season, when you've got receivers at 180 pounds, no amount of weightlifting is going to keep them healthy to this point. I mean, in late in December, everybody hurts, and these 180-pound receivers take a real pounding through the season.
I was reading Reggie Johnson's lips. He played at Florida State, saying to you, Bob Trumpet, hey, watch out for my Seminoles. Don't you? You're going to be there in the Orange Bowl on January 1.
Versus Nebraska. We shouldn't say that too loud around Kansas City here.
There are a lot of Nebraska fans here. The color is right. They both like red.
Mike Kroll and Kenny Walker certainly both rooting for Nebraska.
Now DeLuiso, the try for, or Treadwell rather, the try for point. And the Denver Broncos late in this first quarter lead 7-0. A 62-yard pass on the flea flicker, setting up this 12-yard touchdown Elway to Reggie Johnson.
Dick, I think if you can take the ball from center, you can make this completion. He is right here and totally uncovered. There's nothing tricky about this play, but somebody totally blew the coverage. Wow. Yeah, one of Elway's great attributes is that vision of the field. You know, he just doesn't lock on to a receiver. He has the ability to look all over the place. He starts left, comes back. Oh my goodness. Reggie Johnson. 1, 2, 3.
He's not done it. He's not done it before. He said, Leslie, what do I do here now? Triple pumped.
Taking it rather mildly. When these two offenses have played to this point, that is a big play, isn't it?
8 road games for Denver, only their 7th offensive touchdown to lead 7-0 with 1:05 left in this period. But it took the trick play, the toss back to Elway, who hit Marshall for 62 yards to set it up.
Dick, exotic, not trick, exotic play.
In the Denver vernacular, yes. Now DeLuiso rarely gives a team a chance to return. There you see it, only 12 times one of his kickoffs actually run back. Harvey Williams is the beat man. no chance. Deloiso and others going to change that rule too. They're going to have to move that ball back to the 30-yard line, give the team a chance to return. Well, we'll be returning with a big day on NBC Sports New Year's Day Friday, and it begins unbeaten number 3 Texas A&M against the 5th-ranked Irish of Notre Dame, who won their last 6. The Mobile Cotton Bowl at 1 o'clock Eastern Time opens our triple header on NBC New Year's Day. Kansas City still in quest of a first down. Barnett to the left. Craig through the hands of Ward and almost intercepted. There were 6 men all grabbing at that loose ball. The fans starting to mumble.
Dick, so far for Kansas City, I've seen nothing but a case of nerves. This ball isn't even close to being caught. Watch it bounce off his helmet. I mean, he made the difficult catch on the far side of the field early in the first quarter and misses the easy catch.
Tyrone Braxton was the Bronco that had a hand on it.
Kansas City's got to go to their bread and butter. Whatever it is, that's run the ball in my estimation. Go to their bread and butter.
Yeah, they tried it, but they've been stuffed on the run. Craig is 2 for 6, 9 yards, sacked twice for -9. Almost caught again and is, although able to scramble forward for a 1-yard gain, so no sack as Fletcher and Dronette finally brought him down.
Again, it's Simon Fletcher. There's an awful lot of time here. This is excellent coverage by Denver downfield. This time Fletcher comes from the other side around. Look at the agility that young man has. Stays on his feet. And this is the outside linebacker in the AFC Western Division that does not get the press.
Simon Fletcher from Houston. He has led Denver in sacks for 5 straight years. This is best ever season, 15. Todd McNair now. They like to throw to him. In fact, McNair leads the team in catches with 43. He's in the pattern. And the catch made right at the 30-yard line by Tony Hargain. First down. The final play of the first quarter. Kansas City finally gets another set of downs on a tough catch by Hargain, drilled by Dennis Smith. 7-0 Denver, end of the first. Playoffs at stake in Kansas City. To the winner, the 6th and final spot for the AFC. Mark Jackson, the report is bruised knee, should return. Harvey Williams replaces Barry Ward in the backfield. Marty Schottenheimer looking for some running punch.
He's had 4 carries in the last 3 weeks, Dick.
Only 15 yards of offense in that opening period for the Red Shirts. Williams. Gain of 4. Toppled at the 35 by the submarining Tyrone Braxton.
Of the 3 running backs that Kansas City features, Williams is the one with the most speed. He's a lot faster. Not quite as tough as Okoye to bring down. Not quite as shifty as Barry Ward, but certainly the fastest. And the guy who is 229 pounds with his speed can get to the corner in any defense.
Now Williams gets 4 yards on his first try. Ward had only 4 yards in 5 tries. Charles Dimry, who intercepted DeBerg last year for a 28-yard touchdown. As Kansas City fans will recall, Willie Davis was the intended receiver.
Not surprising, Dick. The last time these 2 teams met, Willie Davis had 5 catches for 127 yards. Dimry that time read it well. Excellent closing speed there by Charles Dimry.
Plan B pickup from the Atlanta Falcons last year. 3rd and 6. Under a blitz and a good throw by Craig. Is it called a catch? Denver saying he trapped it.
Boy, that looked like it skipped.
And they're going to rule it it a catch?
No.
Now another official comes in and says, nope, that was a trap, and no argument from Kansas City.
He would make any shortstop proud.
From that angle, we're screened by Hargain and the defender.
See if we can see it here. I think that ball skipped right off. Whoa.
Oh, I don't know.
That was a catch. In previous years, it would have gone as a catch.
Rarely it goes in that direction where you're denied a legal catch. So Marty Schottenheimer's team will punt again. Barker, number 5. Oh, he really roots one. Marshall circling like an outfielder. That's at bounce. Just so close as Benny Thompson and Dale Carter trying to keep it at the 1. It'll be Kansas City's looking at Denver's offense at the 20 when we come back. Your fan saying if it's so nice in Kansas City, well, Hamburg and Frumpy dressed like this. Well, yeah, this was NBC's Christmas gift, and we're required to wear it regardless of the weather the rest of the year. So please bear with us there. But for Kansas City, Marty's going to have to maybe come up with a exotic play.
Yes, exotic play. It's interesting too to note that Marty has been saying over the last couple of days that Thursday was the best practice the Kansas City Chiefs have had in several weeks. They look nothing like a team that has intentions of going to the playoffs and being a factor.
Denver leads 7-0. That was a 65-yard punt by Barker, 45 net. Gaston Green cut down on a sharp tackle by one of those interior linemen of Kansas City. Appeared to be Big Joe Phillips. Tracy Simeon there as well, the linebacker.
Well, it looks like if Kansas City, that's Greg Cragen being talked to on the sideline by Ernie Stauntner. And Cragen is one of those guys that you just can't believe what he accomplishes at his size in there at nose tackle.
Now you're going to line up all the league's nose tackles and say which one doesn't fit. He'd be the one you'd pull out of the pile. Second and a long 9, and a sweep try by Greg Lewis. He gets 3 yards to the 24, where Martin Bayless, the safety man, number 30, makes the stop. Bayless trying to join his former teammates, the San Diego Chargers, in the playoffs.
And frankly, speaking of Mr. Bayless, it's looking more and more like if Kansas City is going to get some fire in this game ignited, it's going to have to come from a turnover or a big play on the defense. The offense is not even close to in stride yet.
Well, Kansas City leads the league, plus 18 on the turnover table. Denver's a minus 13, and yet still a winning record coming into this game. That's remarkable in itself. Blitz, and away with no chance. They brought the cornerback, J.C. Pearson. Me.
Untouched. You can't blame John Elway for that. Under normal circumstances, he avoids a lot of rushers, but when a cornerback is untouched, just take your medicine.
Don't turn it over. Here's DeLuiso, and if they're ever going to go after him, this would be the time, but it's a return on and a short, bad kick. It'll hit the sidelines at the 44. So the Chiefs are in Denver territory for the first time. DeLuiso, a 29-yard kick. Now Kansas City with its best opportunity of this first half when we come back. Back to Kansas City, where the Chiefs fans, encouraged by a short DeLuiso punt that positions the Chiefs at the 44 of Denver. If you throw out that flea flicker by Denver, 62 yards, total offense, Denver 36, Kansas City 19 yards.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll see if Marty Schottenheimer, now in plus territory, if he'll go to something that's a bit more clever. R.D. Williams, the running back. Good play action. Great catch by the tight end, Jonathan Hayes. That was a one-handed snare by Hayes, who doesn't get many chances. That's his 6th catch of the entire season.
Dick, nice play, positive yards, not not in the personality of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is not the way the Kansas City Chiefs play to win. That's how much they're struggling. Hayes is not a receiver, as you said, almost exclusively a blocker, and he only makes 6 yards.
That's a big game, though, for Kansas City. Now it's Williams straight ahead to the 35 and very close to the first down. Just inside the 35, Keith Traylor and others for the Broncos.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, again, they resort to the wham, what's called the wham. Tight end in motion. See him coming at the top of the screen. He's going to try to block on Soche 70, or in this case, it's Kenny Walker 96. They got to resort to that to handle the middle of that Denver defense, Dick.
49-year-old Marty Schottenheimer, All-America at University of Pittsburgh. He's been a solid coach at Cleveland and Kansas City. Winning is his game, and now it's third, less than a yard. And we'll wait for the mark. It appears to be generous enough at the 34-yard line.
Frankly, I don't think it makes any difference to Kansas City. This is 4-down area with the way their offense is functioning.
Well, they will measure, apparently. A lot of help from both sidelines on those calls. One sideline saying first down, the other side saying no way, waving it off. Dan Reeves, speculation all season long as to his future after 12 terrific years in Denver. Not that he hasn't done a good job, but maybe the thought is that he has too much power. Did he make it? Yes, just enough.
You know, I was struck by John Elway's comment about Dan Reeves. When we asked him how is he taking it, he said, you know, Reeves is a very intense guy. And actually with this situation with this contract, he's not let it affect the team at all. If anything, he's gone the other way. But he's handled it very well.
Only the second Kansas City first down. To Williams. Craig. Off the fingertips of J.J. Burton, covered by Dennis Smith. And the wind, you can see that one floating it wide.
Strong throw by Dave Craig from the right hash to the near sideline. Not known as a particularly strong thrower, but does a good job here. See, he's right on the hash, throws to the near sideline, just overthrows Burton, and you're right. The wind did have an effect on that one.
Craig, a former college relief pitcher in baseball, back more toward his roots. Grew up in Wisconsin, the son of a state trooper. He's only thrown for 9 yards, so obviously disgusted. Williams has an opening. Harvey Williams, 11 yards. Finally gets him at the 23.
Watch Gash coming with this block. Does an excellent job. Harvey Williams uses it to great advantage. Gets by the arm of Simon Fletcher. Atwater and Dimry bring him down. Here he comes in motion again. Nice double team alt and the guard. Williams has got that quickness. 6'2", 229. It's deceiving speed he possesses.
That's that Kansas City system. Just get a helmet on a helmet. Let the runner pick his spot. Deepest penetration for the Chiefs, who trail 7-0. Good move by Craig. Caught by Williams. First down at the 11.
There's the experience of Dave Craig, Dick, not giving up on the play. The intended receiver at the outset is Jonathan Hayes, well covered. The initial fake to Harvey Williams allowed him through the line of scrimmage. He's about the fourth guy in the progression, and Craig stays with the play and makes the completion. Hayes is the first one. Well, this is a good job. There's just no substitute for experience in this game.
Put a good move on Shane Dronette. Williams. Oh, what a nice open field tackle from Tyrone Braxton, number 34. That was right out of the textbook.
Yeah, when you can get big, strong, fast running backs going for the sideline, that's the kind of defense you want to play.
Loss of a yard thanks to Braxton, former grave digger out of Madison, Wisconsin. And Braxton hoping to get out the shovel for the Chiefs today as Marty Schottenheimer's team looking for another playoff spot. If they make it, it'll be the first time in franchise history 3 straight years into the playoffs. Craig underneath the Hayes. Touchdown. Oh my. Game 16. Reggie Johnson, Denver. First touchdown of the year. Jonathan Hayes, tight end, Kansas City. First touchdown of the year.
Dick, they had a double tight end set. Trailer 54 is the closest man in coverage. And Jonathan Hayes, the non-receiving tight end on his team. 2 catches for 1 touchdown so far.
Both touchdown passes, 12 yards. To Ty Lowry, his 100th point of the year. He has the NFL record 10 straight years, 100 points or more. So to little use tight ends, 2 12-yard touchdowns, 7 all. Veteran, diabetic since his college years, with his first touchdown catch of the entire year. 12 yards from Craig. It's tied at 7. 100 points for the amazing Nick Lowry from Dartmouth in his 13th season. Has missed only 2 field goals, perfect on the points after, and is on his way to the Pro Bowl as the AFC field goal specialist. Does not have the leg Deloiso has, but hits this one plenty good. Frank Robinson. Fumbled, but recovers as he is drilled by Todd McNair. No, make that Benny Thompson.
That's a big play. That can ignite the team. Thompson, a Plan B acquisition, one of the best special team players in the NFL. From the minute he got here, has had an impact on his football team. Marty Schottenheimer said, I've never seen a player that enjoyed football more than Benny Thompson.
Denver with only 2 first downs. Green hit in the backfield, dropped for a loss by Joe Phillips. Back to the touchdown for Kansas City.
And you know, Dick, a lot of times coaches draw up plays. Here's Jonathan Hayes. The motion man is Davis. Watch what happens. This ball, I believe, is intended for Davis if he makes the proper cut out here. But he releases up here, trailers the man in coverage. Hayes turns around, and Craig finds him wide open, and he runs it in for the touchdown.
.44 yards on that possession. They had 29 yards total on the first 5 possessions. Play action for Elway. For Sharp, is it a catch? Yes, at the 31-yard line. Shannon Sharp hit by Mencian. For Sharp, 2 catches today, give him 50 for the year. His older brother Sterling at Green Bay leads the league with 102.
Elway put some RPMs on this one, doesn't he? Both feet down in bounds. This Shannon Sharp is going to cause defenses a lot of problems over the years. They're just discovering exactly what this young man can do.
Good last name for those 2 athletes, Sharp. They're liable to be the first brother combination ever to lead their team in receptions. Different teams, same year. Lewis runs into his own blocker. Joe Phillips was the man who had stuffed it with Martin Bayless coming up from strong safety. And no room for Lewis.
Oh, you can stuff an offensive lineman back into the offensive backfield. You give the running back no choice. There you see number 62, Jeff Davidson, really destroys the play, and in the corner, actually it's the safety Bayless comes up there, gets hammered by Jeff Davidson, but a loss on the play nevertheless.
16 yards on 8 tries rushing by Denver. Draw. Green to the 33, where it'll be 3rd down and about 9. And Reeves. When you ask players about this man, intense comes up time and time again. Boy, talk about working at his job. And he played that way. He was a free agent out of South Carolina. No one drafted him. And the only man to ever be in 8 Super Bowls as a player and coach. And wants his team to get another chance this season. On 3rd and 9, Derek Thomas hits him. It is caught by Benny Thompson. Kansas City and laterals to Mincy, who scores, but did the whistle sound? Apparently not. Touchdown. Mincy's 2nd interception touchdown this year and his 3rd touchdown on defense. Derek Thomas made the play.
He comes from the left-hand side. Arm going forward. This ball is a free ball. It bounces off. Nickel 92. Heads-up play here. I'm not sure his knee wasn't down, but they allowed the lateral to stand, and Mincy scores.
That's their 9th return for a touchdown this year. Kansas City breaking a tie with the Vikings for the league lead. Lowry's try for point. The defense has produced, and Derek Thomas, who has earned his way to another Pro Bowl, that's his 7th forced fumble, and it goes for 7 points.
There's only so long you can keep this young man out of the quarterback space. He comes from the outside against the rookie free agent tackle Russell Freeman. Ball is live. Whether his arm is going forward or not, the ball is live, still in the air. Thomas with unbelievable agility. It bounces off Mickle. Benny Thompson. See if his knee is down when he makes the lateral. Still up, still up. Can't really pick out exactly what happened, but John Elway had a good seat to see the whole thing. Yes, sir.
One thing is apparent. That's the 2nd time today. It's going to be a slow whistle. A very slow whistle, and that's just perhaps part of the playoff attitude.
Sure, even though this is the last game of the season, this for these two teams is, for one of these two teams, is the first game of the playoffs. No other way to look at it.
And if you're like to log each play, credit Benny Thompson with the interception and 4-yard return, and then 32 yards for Mincy. But was Thompson down before he lateraled? Here it is again.
That would be the thing in previous years they would look at. Yes, the knee was down. So that's 1 on each side. The catch by Hargain, it didn't count. They took it away from Kansas City. And Kansas City gets a score on what would have, in previous seasons, with the eye in the sky, been ruled down.
It would have been Kansas City's ball at the Denver 32, but they get the touchdown. Mincy from Thompson. Almost like a hockey scoring recap. Derek Thomas and Benny Thompson with the assist give the ball to Mincy. Unlike his namesake, who wore number 20 to the Hall of Fame, Frank Robinson. They retired his jerseys in Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Now, we don't like to talk about that, Dick. The Cincinnati Reds traded Frank Robinson to the Baltimore Orioles, and the next year, Frank Robinson won the Triple Crown. Please don't ever bring it up in my presence again.
Sorry, I know you have a lot of sensitivities. I didn't realize that was another.
Especially to that one.
All right, Denver down by 14-7. starting at the 24. 4:11 left in this opening half. Winner to the playoffs. Drop ball by Mark Jackson. And Elway dropped as he threw it. Was a little behind his receiver.
Well, the one thing is that Kansas City is now beginning to get some pressure on John Elway. Smith 90 this side, around Ken Lanier.
Boy, that's a...
And he lands on the shoulder that hurts when he hits it. The left shoulder. Jackson, the receiver, this ball, because of pressure, I think, thrown a little bit behind Mark Jackson.
Couple yards on the play. Derek Thomas making the stop, actually, for a loss.
How about that agility? We're talking about a kid who is 6'3", 247 pounds. Watch, starts to accelerate, stops in 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and makes the tackle. Big guys, when I played the game 20 years ago, they couldn't do that. That's how much this game has changed.
Thomas tickets Denver with a yard loss on that play. 3rd and 11. Thomas after him again, and Thomas has his 2nd sack.
They double team Derek Thomas, and he still makes the sack. It's help for Freeman. 2 offensive linemen hit him. 68 Freeman, 67 Wydell. Thomas still fights through the block to make the sack.
Now Galaweso from his own end zone. Remember, he got only 29 yards the last kick, and he just end over ends this one out of there to Carter. 50. Tailed at the 47. Reggie Rivers made the stop, but it's suddenly become Kansas City's game, leading 14-7. That's when we asked John Elway about him yesterday. He said he is the ultimate speed rush man. You got to deny the speed. Well, on this case, Wydell catapults him. Watch 67.
Johnson tries to get him. Freeman tries to get him, and Wydell comes out here to block. They roll out into Derek Thomas, and he's still, here's the push you're talking about, Dick. Thank you very much.
I'm not fast enough. You got to push me from behind. Now it's Kansas City 14-7 with 2:47 left in the half. Ball at the 47 of Denver. Craig looking for a big one. Out of bounds, Willie Davis. Boy, Charles Demery almost gave up on that, figuring that Davis was well out of bounds, and perfect throw by Craig, but Demery had his man pinned to the sidelines.
This young Davis man is a guy they're just beginning to discover. They know he has great speed, but he played in the wishbone in college at Central Arkansas, and basically the wishbone patterns are, son, get deep. He does not have natural hands. They're trying to teach him how to catch the ball a little better, but a wonderful stride. He's also from the same school that produced one Scottie Pippen.
Craig's 2nd target is the tight end Hayes again. So Broncos not figuring that Hayes is part of the pattern. That looked to be the 3rd option. 21 yards.
Probably the most shot guy on the field is Jonathan Hayes. But you know, I love to watch those tight ends catch the ball. Again, I think we're going to see just dropped coverage. Carl Mecklenburg, 77, of course, playing Michael Brooks' spot, but I don't think you can blame that on Mecklenburg. They're just not used to covering the tight end when they play the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City will not try to hurry up the play here. They'll wait for the 2-minute timeout. With the winner aiming for the playoffs and the Super Bowl party. It's Kansas City by 7. Our New Year's Day football coverage, then it's on to the playoffs, and the tickets have already been purchased by that fan looking for Kansas City to get in as a wild card, or perhaps as the AFC Western champion should they win today and San Diego lose. Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Bob Oche and Howie Long, who was a blush today in his closing day effort, along with the Raiders, to upset the Redskins, who now forced a lot of Washington fans to really love the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings at last report were producing and had the lead over Green Bay. You'll get all of that at halftime, so stay with us for the scores and highlights. Williams, a good charge by Williams, but somebody really filled the hole in a hurry. Keith Traylor, number 54, 260-pounder.
He is a big dude at linebacker. You know, they have more people at practice at Denver than he played in front of in college. You got to also give an assist to Cragen again, and this is Traylor right here. They both fill and fill quickly. That time the center, Babb, does an excellent job on Cragen getting him to his knees, but Traylor right there to fill the hole.
2nd and 8. Intercepted by Dronette after going off the hands of J.J. Burton. This is a big possession for the Chiefs if they can build on a touchdown lead just before the intermission. 1:14 to go. And Marty Schottenheimer, what did he say? What is a safe lead against Elway in the 4th quarter?
He said 21 points at least. He said every time we kick a field goal, as opposed to going for a touchdown, you can see me shaking my head. I don't want to get in that Elway zone again.
3rd down, 8. It's Burton with a first down at the 14, and he gets out of bounds, stopping the clock with 1:07. Lilo Lang on the coverage. Good throw by Craig.
When the Chiefs started this season, they went with all these young receivers, most of them with very little experience. But Schottenheimer said early in the season, the net result is we've got a lot more speed. Burton that time just broke out of that pattern and left Lilo Lang. Dave Craig makes the completion. Watch the separation here. Boy, there's no substitute for speed in this game, and Burton just used it beautifully.
Big 3rd and 8, and that positions Kansas City well in field goal range, but they're looking for a bigger play. Oh, Williams catching it on his left hip and struggling to maintain control all the way to the turf. Gets it back to the line of scrimmage. That was a good effort just to deny a loss, and a timeout called with exactly 1 minute to go.
I think you got to put this on Harvey Williams too. This is a good looking pitch by Dave Craig. I mean, Harvey Williams turned his head, trying to look upfield to where he was going to go, and he didn't get the ball cleanly. Those are the tiny little things that in a game like this of this importance just people forget. You're trying to make a big play, forget the fundamentals.
Now Williams coming in for the starter, Barry Word, has given the Chiefs offense a bit more spice here in the 2nd quarter. Word struggled, 5 carries, 4 yards in the opening quarter. 1 minute to go. 14-7. Kansas City leads after Denver struck first, setting up their touchdown on a 62-yard flea flicker from Elway to Marshall, and the score going to Reggie Johnson, the tight end, 12 yards, his first touchdown of the year. Jonathan Hayes answers with his own 12-yard initial touchdown of the season to tie, and then on what might be a controversial play, Benny Thompson, interception lateral. Thompson's knee down, but he lateraled to Mincy, who went on 32 yards for the touchdown to give Kansas City 14-7 lead. Williams charging to the 7-yard line. A pickup of about 7 more. Lilo Lang and Mike Kroll make the tackle, and Marty Schottenheimer asks for another timeout. Marty assisted there by his daughter Kristen. You see the back of her head. She's helping him with his mobility today, as she's in charge of keeping that cord that maintains communications to his assistant coaches out of his path.
And of course, Marty's son, who plays for Kansas, just played in the Aloha Bowl over in Hawaii. And I said, is he going to be on the sideline? He says, no. He prefers sitting with his girlfriend.
He's watching the game from the stands. All right, Marty with a final verbal volley to Dave Craig. 3rd down and a short 4 at the 7-yard line. 54 seconds left in the half.
He's got a tough choice here if he doesn't get the first down. Excuse me, if he doesn't get the first down, do you think he would go for it on 4th down with the Elway factor?
No.
Okay. Just posing the question.
1 timeout left for Kansas City. It is intercepted by Dennis Smith. A disastrous play for the Kansas City Chiefs. The veteran Smith, perhaps in his last season with the Broncos, picks it off and denies any score for Kansas City. 44 seconds left in the half. And the Broncos have their 3 timeouts left, although the ball now very deep in their own end.
Again, good pressure on Craig. They tried to run a delay outside. Tried to trick the defense, and Smith was there to make the interception. Again, Mecklenburg on the outside. And then the minute Craig throws it, he knows he's made a mistake.
Now, Craig against the Giants last week trying to rally, and in a similar situation threw a ball rather than grounding it. But the Giants intercepted inside the 10. Gaston Green, a little draw. Some daylight to the 22. Will the Broncos will show their hand right here if they call time. They let the clock run. The no intent by Dan Reeves. They'll be happy to go to the locker room at 14-7 down. Dennis Smith, how many times has he come up with a big play for the Denver Broncos?
Another one of those guys out of USC, and Ronnie Lott, I think, gets all the attention about the way he hits people. But Dennis Smith is in that league too.
Well, they were roommates and classmates with the Trojans. Only 15 interceptions all year for Denver. One of the lows in the league. New England and Chicago, the only teams with fewer. 13 coming into this final week. And no effort to run a play by Elway on a interception and a lateral. Kansas City by 7 as we go to Bob Costas in New York.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza, where you always get great pizza plus something for nothing.
All right, the comments of Howie Long and O.J. Simpson on the first half at Arrowhead coming up. But first of all, to the scoreboard. And in case you are just joining us at this instant, there is the score. Kansas City 14 and Denver 7. Elsewhere,
Trouble both teams had moving the ball. Denver with only 3 first downs. Each team with just over 100 yards total offense. Denver in the second quarter a minus 12 yards passing, and had only 2 total yards in the entire second quarter, as it really seemed to be swinging to Kansas City until Dennis Smith denied.
And if you joined us late, 62 of Denver's 105 yards in that first half came on 1 play.
And if you're a charter member of the NFL tight end fraternity, as is my partner, you'll be pleased to note that Jonathan Hayes of the Kansas City Chiefs, who had 5 catches in 15 games, had 3 in the first half and 1 of those for a touchdown, but is injured and has a lower back problem and is questionable for the second half. 30 minutes to the playoffs for one of these teams, unless we have sudden death. Frank Robinson to the 25-yard line. Keith Cash, one of those in on the tackle on special teams. Here comes Elway. The one time he really tested his arm was on the flea flicker.
This was the longest play of the first half by the Denver Broncos. The 62-yard flea flicker, the exotic play. And Dick, you know, with his shoulder being injured, I've always thought that a lot of what Denver did was just the improvisation of John Elway. But with a bad shoulder, he can't do that.
And again, to reiterate, he said he can't throw on the run. That's where it really hurts. And Gaston Green gets a painful sock from Neil Smith. Smith repeating his Pro Bowl year this season. Broke his nose against Seattle mid-season and has just maintained the protective bandage over the bridge.
He had 3 sacks against John Elway the last time these two teams met in Denver. So, and Derek Thomas has kind of taken that role today. He's got 2 sacks against John Elway.
Technically, he only has 1 on the intercepted play he caused. Well, it was a fumble, but it's ruled an interception, so that is not a fumble sack for Thomas. So he has 1 officially. Outside to the tight end Johnson. Boy, you could hear the pop from Martin Bayless after short yardage, just to the 30-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Reggie Johnson getting up there and saying, that didn't hurt. That wasn't hard. I've been hit harder. That's no big deal.
Johnson, 256-pounder. A dwarf when he's next to John Olt. He's about 300 pounds.
Defensive backs for the Kansas City Chiefs, Dick.
Intercepted. Dale Carter. And now he can go all the way. What a play, Carter! The All-America from Tennessee, Dale Carter's 3rd touchdown this year. 2 on punt returns. And what great broken field running after. It was Darren Mickle who forced Elway out of the pocket.
Late down the middle. Very poor choice by John Elway, but he's trying to come up with a big play. And Dick, I think we're looking at the National Football League's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Dale Carter.
Kansas City, the defense, 2 touchdowns by interceptions. They have 10 return touchdowns this year and lead by 14. Dale Carter, he started the season against San Diego. The first time he touched the ball, returned it for a touchdown, punt return, and now here in the final game, a 36-yard interception return for a touchdown. 6th time this year Kansas City's returned a pick for a score. Alton Montgomery stops Frank Robinson from coming out. Kansas City from the 20.
You're going to see the interception. The wide receiver is Mark Jackson. He runs an out. When Elway is flushed, he runs back this way. What receivers are taught is once you run with the quarterback or you clear out for the quarterback. Elway's trying to make a big play here. Carter on Jackson. When he cuts back inside, oh, prime picking for Dale Carter.
And look at the running. There are 4 Broncos. How's he going to get through that? Well, very easily.
The initial pressure, too, by Mickle, 92, the young man out of the supplemental draft. And then John Elway knows that when you throw the interception, you got to try to make the tackle. He couldn't quite get it done. Carter scores.
And now the Broncos will have to open it up, trailing 21-7. 13 minutes left in the 3rd. Gaston Green ripped down by Neil Smith. Smith always tough against the run, and as he has matured as a #1 pick, 2nd pick in a draft, he's also matched his run defense with his rush of the passer.
And Dick, just to continue the story about John Elway, when he went to the sideline, he was upset with Shannon Sharp. He was not upset with Shannon Sharp because I think Sharp ran the wrong pattern. They were both right there together, and that really messed the whole thing up. Elway not happy.
1-yard gain on first down. Open is Sharp. No one picked him up. Shannon Sharp to the 27-yard line of Kansas City. Just what the doctor ordered for Denver.
He was flanked as a wide receiver, Dick. And in that case, you get Bayless 30 in coverage. Just runs right by him. There's man coverage inside. Oh, that's double rotation zone. Corner up, safety out, but you've got 30 and 42 the two safeties there trying to function as a corner and a safety. They're not used to it. Shannon Sharp gets scot-free for the completion.
53 yards on the play. And a little scold from Elway, and they have awakened Sharp. Tillman in motion, give it to Greg Lewis. Tripped up by Tracy Simeon. Simeon, second to safety man Charles Mincy in tackles on the year. Former Horned Frog, TCU.
Marty Schottenheimer told us that 14 points was not a big enough lead against John Elway in Denver. He wants 21 going into the fourth quarter.
That long pass to Sharp giving Denver only its fourth first down of the game. Joe Phillips and Leonard Griffin get to Elway. 3 sacks for Kansas City today.
Classic coverage sack. Here's Phillips. He's double teamed, fights through the double team, but Elway has nobody to throw it to, and that's why this sack takes place. Thomas is held at the top. Phillips finally, and again, Elway, I think, in protecting his shoulder, just going down on these sacks, not running like we're used to seeing John Elway run.
Well, that really takes a considerable bite out of the Denver offense. Yes. When Elway can't scramble. Goes deep this time. Oh, a catch. It has to be Sharp. We haven't seen the number yet. No, it was Cedric Tillman, number 87. We said Sharp because he makes his living on that kind of play, a jump ball catch. Tillman, who is 6'2", using his height over Kevin Ross to make a sensational reception on 3rd and long, 27 yards.
This is great coverage by Kevin Ross, too. Just outstanding concentration by Tillman, an excellent throw by Elway, and a big first down.
First and goal at the 7-yard line. Green loses 2. Chris Martin.
Boy, he came out of nowhere, Dick. If your defensive line can hold that offensive line up, then your linebackers can pursue wherever they want. Here is a perfect example. Tracy Martin has a direct line to the running back to drop him for a 2-yard loss.
Gaston Green averaging just barely 2 yards per carry. 19 total yards on 9 rushes. Elway drilled by Phillips again.
Intended receiver Mark Jackson on the delay.
He had time, but no one broke clearly, and the Kansas City pass defense is Elway now, with all of his injuries, holding his hand.
We're talking about a player, a coach's son, who has an extra dose of a lot of things. And one of the things he has an extra dose of that makes him so great is just never give in attitude.
Has to hurry here to beat the 45-second clock. Incomplete to Jackson, and he was well covered. Tahan Lewis was there defensively. Oh, Schottenheimer's defense holds, and on 4th and goal from the 9, the field goal unit on, and David Treadwell for Dan Reeves.
How many times, I'm just thinking here, how many times do you suppose Marty Schottenheimer would have wished that John Elway would just miss that completion in games these two teams have played against each other? Just a little completion like that.
27-yard attempt. And Treadwell, who has missed only 4 times all year, now ups his record to 19 out of 23. 21-10. Kansas City's defense giving the Chiefs that lead. with a couple of remarkable catches by Shannon Sharp and Cedric Tillman. The Broncos get first and goal, but are denied. Treadwell settles for the three-pointer. John Elway, how much is left in that broken body? And he was ever so close to getting a touchdown on that drive, but Joe Phillips pressure denied it. Aloiso, this one might be returned. Nope. So his record remains clean today. 3 kickoffs, no returns.
Dick, you mentioned pass protection in all parts of the game are very important. Watch Jackson, the delay. He is wide open in the middle as the defense kind of moves out of the middle. Well, why didn't Elway throw it to him? If he catches that, it's a score. Why didn't he catch it? Watch Phillips and the pressure from the offense, from the defensive line. It all ties together. Just a split second more, Denver has a score.
That's why that second effort, third effort by those defensive linemen, so key. Jackson hasn't caught a pass today, by the way. Still leading by 11. First possession of the second half for the offense of Kansas City. And Harvey Williams, who had a chance to watch O.J. Simpson at halftime, and O.J.'s remarks so positive and glowing that Harvey said, I'm going to show everyone the juice knows about what he speaks. And he spurts for 6 on his first drive, second half.
On that particular run, too, Dennis Smith fired in there in support. Sometimes he makes big hits. That time it was a big miss on Harvey Williams.
Hence Elway. Good force that time as Dennis Smith denied the outside, and Keith Traylor makes the tackle.
Wade Phillips told us last night, said my 2 safeties, they're big enough to play linebacker, and we expect them to. And Smith coming from the outside forces it inside. Beautifully done. Traylor makes the tackle. When defensive coordinators draw up support for a sweep, that's the way they draw it up.
Wade Phillips, there's his dad still as an advisor, although his dad refuses to talk about the past. Only today and tomorrow. Nothing about the past. Old bum. Third and a long 4. Wide open is Barnett. Tim Barnett's first catch today. First down at the 34.
They got the single coverage. Craig was able to identify it easily. This is not a fancy pattern. Just a little in. When Henderson looks inside, watch Valerio, 73, hit his own player in the back of the head. That's a little dangerous. I mean, he's trying to get an additional block for his wide receiver, but he almost rung his bell.
Barnett, the man who took 177 yards for a touchdown against the Giants last Saturday. Craig goes deep down the middle. Willie Davis, no flag. I think the official felt that was not a catchable ball. Tyrone Braxton on the coverage.
Dick, I also think they were both looking back at the football. That's allowable in the NFL. Let's see, it's about 6 yards overthrown. That's allowable.
They hook up right about here. So Craig now 9 for 20, 90 yards, a touchdown and an interception. 21-10 Kansas City. 6 minutes, 12 seconds left. Third quarter. There's the distance for Craig, who's thrown 9 of his completions under 20. Hold on. Williams on a delay. Gets a couple of yards. Simon Fletcher and Greg Cragen down low.
For Kansas City's offense here, Dick, with the injury to Jonathan Hayes, they can't really go much to the double tight end offense. We were told he was not going to play, but he was in the lineup there. Jonathan Hayes was. Said he had a lower back strain. He was in on that last play. They feature and like to feature in a ball possession offense 2 tight ends.
Third down, 8. 5.5 left in the third. playing for the final spot in the playoffs from the AFC. Bookie is complete to Hargame. First down at the 48.
He has made some big, tough catches today, Hargame. Every catch he's made today has been in a crowd. This is a slant pattern. There are 7 defensive backs in the ball game for Denver. You can see Lilo Lang standing right there and ready to hit him. Tough kid, this Hargame.
He had 6 grabs against the Giants last week, giving him 8 in these last 2 games to match his whole season's total. He's a 8th round pick out of Oregon a year ago. Just what Denver can ill afford. A Kansas City march to chew up the clock. Williams met by Mecklenburg at the 49 of Denver. And a little bit extra. Kenny Walker was involved for Denver, and Dave Zott for Kansas City. And Mecklenburg slow getting up. He's all right.
We have offsetting personal fouls. Personal foul 79, offense. Personal foul 71, defense. They'll offset second down.
And Cragen.
71 to 96. Kenny Walker's the one who starts the fight. There'll be no man advantage for either.
No play.
Either side here.
Second down and 7. Sold out Arrowhead Stadium, 78,000 plus, 76,240 have used their tickets. Fletcher has his second sack, a flag down. Simon Fletcher, he's bidding for the sack championship in the NFL this year with 16 on the season, 2 today. I believe Clyde Simmons led with 16 starting today. Check that. Simmons was 17 and a half, the leader. Leslie O'Neal 16, the Charger defensive end.
Holding 76, offense. It's decline. Third down.
John Auld, who's done a good job for most of this day stopping Fletcher.
Well, that's the double dip. I mean, 73 on 76. Actually, it's Zott, 79, the guard, who comes out to block him and allows him around the corner. Fletcher with that tremendous corner speed.
On another man. 3rd and 14. Underneath to McNair at the 49-yard line, well short of the first down as Mike Kroll makes the hit. And on comes the punting unit for Kansas City, and the clock continuing to tick away. 3.5 left in the 3rd. Parker to punt. Had a good day. Arthur Marshall at the other end for the Broncos. Marshall had a big punt return in the first game at Denver to set up the winning touchdown. That one go. And it takes a Kansas City back.
No, that's touchback.
He rolled into the end zone. Tracy Rogers. He would have been better off just deadening the ball at somebody else down it in the field of play.
The Chiefs are arguing here as to what's going on, but the momentum of Rogers carries him in the end zone. Even though he's down, the momentum carries him into the end zone, and it's a touchback.
Fans booing, but that's the proper call, and Barker knew it. Timeout. In the 3rd quarter, Kansas City, who just joined us, using 2 interceptions, 4 touchdowns, one controversial at best, as it appeared that the knee was down when a lateral made. And Mincy went the final 32 yards for a score. 21-10. late in the third. Elway back to work. Good play action. And Mark Jackson denied. Good coverage by Carter.
We got holding on Derek Thomas. Flag will be against Kansas City. He had his arms all over Shannon Sharpe.
Derek Thomas, his father 20 years ago lost his life in Vietnam.
58 defense. First down.
He's a big student of history and particularly fascinated with JFK's assassination. When we saw him in Dallas, he went to the site, has his own theories now, and he's got enough information to write his own book to add to that collection. Will be 25 on New Year's Day. Derek Thomas, one of the stars in this league. Away to Tillman to the 34, a gain of almost 9. Kevin Ross, the cover man.
Dick, you know, if Tracy Rogers downs that ball, it doesn't go in the end zone. This part of Denver's offense can't be used. Single coverage on the outside. Actually, that's sky coverage, zone coverage by Kansas City. Kevin Ross rotates out there. Nice throw. There's Rogers. If he downs that ball at like the 2-yard line, Denver can't use this part of its offense.
Rogers got a touchdown last week, rolling on one against the Giants, but not this time. 2nd and 1. Crowd trying to help out. Reggie Rivers, a rare carry, has the first down at the 36-yard line. That's his first lug of the day. Minnesota making the fans happy in the nation's capital. Green Bay with a gallant run for the playoffs. The Eagles, I don't think anyone wants to play them in an opening round.
Agreed.
Miami within a touchdown of New England in the ice and snow of New England. Cleveland trails by 10. Pittsburgh still alive for a possible home advantage throughout. If Buffalo loses tonight, other things happen. Elway down the middle, wide open, incomplete to Reggie Johnson. And that looked like a sore arm throw.
He's grimacing too. Now, Dick, we found the tight end open for Denver several times today. I'm wondering if this 4-man front that the Kansas City Chiefs are now going to, you see Johnson just above Tracy Simeon 54. I'm wondering if the 4-man front, one, allows the quarterback a little easier read on the defense, and two, you're putting linebackers in drop positions that they're not used to because of the new 43 defense.
2nd and 10. Reggie Johnson with 3 catches and the only Denver touchdown, the tight end. No one there but Carter as Mark Jackson pulled up on the hitch.
Dick, you mentioned the catches by Reggie Johnson, 3. Shannon Sharpe has 3. So the tight end position, or H-back, if you allow Shannon Sharpe, they have 6 catches for close to 90 yards. This is Jackson, bump and run coverage again. Dale Carter. Jackson stops. Carter keeps going. Ball overthrown.
Carter, by the way, with the interception today, 7. Leads the rookies. Darren Perry of Pittsburgh had 6 as well coming into today's game. Oh, Thomas. Recovered by Denver. Maybe. It got loose the second time. Derek Thomas, like a shot off the line of scrimmage, forces another big play. A Denver lineman had the ball, and then it seemed to squirt from beneath his grasp, and Kansas City says they have it, they don't. But give Thomas another forced fumble and a sack. This is real time.
Russell Freeman has no chance.
He anticipated the count and just beat everyone off the ball. Punt by Daloiso, another end-over-end job that Carter lets bounce by him. That's a bad kick that becomes a good. Oh, no! Denver recovers! Oh, my!
That is the third punt that he's mishandled today. The fourth time he's had the ball in his hands and mishandled it.
First, he let the ball bounce, a short kick that becomes a 67-yard roller, and then, perhaps trying to make up for his mistake, does this.
You're right. He should have caught it. Make every effort to catch it. Is it Alton Montgomery, 22, that comes up with the ball?
Aloiso actually didn't kick it that well, but had the end-over-end going for him. And the Broncos with a golden chance to get right back in this one. They trail 21-10. First and goal at the 7. No gain on that one to Mark Jackson. Well covered. Charles Mincy, who has had a terrific year after sitting out his rookie year last year with injuries, taking the starting spot at safety when Daron Cherry retired, and leading the team in tackles.
Well, Dick, if I may suggest here for the Denver Broncos, they had a touchdown on the last series. We got an injury on the field. The trainer is going to the sideline. It may be it's Kevin Ross. But they ran a delay that worked. If they can protect for Elway, they might want to try to get the ball to Jackson again.
Even with the most talented of rookies, you take the good with the bad or the bad with the good. A touchdown on an interception and a brilliant return for Dale Carter Day, but also some mistakes in this. We'll see how costly the muff of the fumble at the 7-yard line will be. It's second down and goal at the 6-yard line. Could be the final play of the third quarter. 21-10 Kansas City. Sharp, and Elway had to unload it. Dan Saliamua, injured in the first half, was putting on the pressure. 21-10 Kansas City, a quarter from the playoffs. So we'll return after these messages from your local station. Reeves Broncos open the fourth quarter down by 11. The bad news, but they're in a pleasant spot. Third and goal at the Kansas City 6.
7 DBs for Kansas City. Watch the quarterback draw here, Dick. It didn't work.
Movement. No play. No play. Kevin Ross charged, and then Russell Freeman pulled off his three-point stance, and they'll sort this out. The responsibility for the offense, tough as it may be, defense can do a lot of things, and the offense has to freeze. And the noise factor.
False start. 68. Offense. Prior to the snap.
Noise factor. The crowd give them the 5 yards.
You're absolutely right. No question. He's the guy that moves, but I mean, actually, you can pick one or two. It looks like Sharp moved ahead. It was all a response to the defense.
And Derek Thomas. So third and goal from the 11-yard line.
Again, 7 defensive backs for the Chiefs, Dick.
A healthier Elway might call the draw. Jackson to the 2-yard line. Fourth down. Now, what does Reeves do? Take the field goal automatic, but be behind by 8 points, or in this spot, go for the touchdown. He's made up his mind, and he's going to go at least apparently for the field goal, but fake certainly would be one you'd want to consider.
Hey, Dick, with Elway's ability apparently against Marty Schottenheimer, I'd have confidence that they could come up with 2 scores in the fourth quarter. He's certainly done it an awful lot of times against this guy.
20-yard attempt. Maddox is the quarterback. Holding. No fake. And for the Broncos, 2 trips inside the 10, but come away with only 6 points. It's still Kansas City on top by 8. Only haunting Marty Schottenheimer, John Elway. 0-3 with the Browns, and 2 of those to the Super Bowl. 1-6 here with the Chiefs, including game 1 of this season in Denver. Leading 19-6. Elway gets a touchdown with 3 minutes to go. Now 43 seconds left. Elway to Vance Johnson. A perfect throw, and the Broncos rally 2019. So I guess if Elway can get you 2 touchdowns in 3 minutes, Dan Reeves thinks, well, only down by 8, and there's 14 minutes plus left. Aloiso, does he ever hit that ball on kickoffs? Not only deep, but it's so high that the on-rushing kicking team only 20 yards away when you catch it. New Year's Day begins on NBC at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock in the West, with unbeaten A&M, once beaten Notre Dame. Mobile Cotton Bowl will kick it off. That'll be followed by the Fiesta Bowl, Syracuse and Colorado, and of course in prime time, the Orange Bowl, Florida State and Nebraska, all on NBC. So start 93 with the Peacock. Now for the Chiefs with a touchdown plus lead. They'd love to grind a long charge downfield, but they don't. It's out. Craig going very deep to Willie Davis. 35-yard line. Davis, who leads the league in average per catch over 20, gets another big bomb, 45 yards, and a flag down at the spot of the catch.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. First down.
So 45 plus 15. Atwater, they say, ripped him down by the face mask.
Braxton is the man in coverage. This is the 3rd time we've seen Kansas City try to go deep to Davis. Basically just runs away. The penalty is on Braxton. Grabs a hold of the left side of the face mask. At 45 plus 15, a 59-yard play.
Or 60 if you want to add it again.
Why not?
At the 20-yard line. Williams. And of course what that play does puts the Chiefs within field goal range. And a field goal would make it a 2-touchdown challenge for Denver.
But as we've said in our fireside chat with Marty Schottenheimer last night with Irish setter Molly at his side, we need 3 touchdowns.
And the dog yipped in total unison. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh still up by 7 late in the 4th. 2nd down 8. What a job the Colts, Ted Marchibroda have done. Craig underneath to Barnett. Fumbles in the end zone, picked up by the Broncos. Oh my! Again, is it Smith again? At the 2-yard line, Barnett going in for a touchdown is rocked. And Atwater, Steve Atwater, the other hard-knocking Broncos safety, comes up with the ball.
Goodness. Sometimes this stuff gets scary. Craig comes off the primary. Now Barnett, a big receiver, tries to turn tough guy here. Tough guys against tough guys, it doesn't work. It looked like Smith made the hit. I think Atwater is hurt. He either just turned his ankle or did something to his knee. When he planted his foot, something gave way.
Ball at the Denver 2-yard line, and Craig in disbelief. That just took the collective wind right out of over 76,000 fans at Arrowhead. They were cheering what looked to be a touchdown. Schottenheimer gets him inside the 5, and then the hit by the veteran Smith, who was denied. Look at it, it's almost, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Marty closed his eyes, opened and says, let me think. This has got to be against Denver, and it's got to be in the 4th quarter. Barnett is wide open. Somebody dropped coverage. But you got to hang on to this football. Something for.
That's
but watch Atwater. Watch Atwater.
Tyrone Braxton, not Smith, who made the hit.
That left leg, it looked like his knee popped out a little bit. He's being assisted to the sideline.
Well, that's an irreplaceable defender, Atwater. Michael Brooks, who didn't suit up today, makes the Pro Bowl. Atwater, the other Bronco on defense, to make the Pro Bowl, and he is carried off. But the Broncos, who appeared to be just a step away from down 28-13, have new life with 12:42 to go. Elway with a fake from his own end zone to Jackson, incomplete. Incomplete. Dale Carter, boy, he's just around the ball all day.
We have called his name a lot. If there is a part of the equation in John Elway's magic, John Elway's magic historically in the fourth quarter, it's his lack of running today. I do not think he wants to take a chance with his shoulder, so he's not quite the same threat as he has been in game-winning situations in previous meetings between these two teams.
Denver has not been able to run on Kansas City, so from his end zone again, it's Elway. Out of bounds is Vance Johnson. He had stepped out of bounds and tried to get back in. That was no play. Kevin Ross was there nevertheless.
Good call, Dick. Good call, Dick. 1 foot went out of bounds.
Working on Neil Smith. Does not appear to be anything serious. And here comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 defenders sent in by Marty Schottenheimer as they work on the left knee of Atwater. Right wrist injury to Smith will probably return.
Let's see, here's 2, 4, 6, 7 defensive backs against for Kansas City. 4-man rush.
Here comes Thomas. Derek Thomas again. It's a touchdown or a safety. Touchdown. Derek Thomas, a personal havoc. That's 3 times he's made big plays today.
That's also 3 defensive scores. And again, Elway had no chance.
I mean, that is all pro talent.
Russell Freeman barely gets a hand on it.
And then Thomas recovers it. So that's a sack, a fumble, and a recovered fumble. That's not a daily double. He just hit the triple. Lowry for the extra point. But this day belongs to number 58, Derek Thomas. He's had more points today than the Denver offense. With 2 big plays today that lead to 2 touchdowns for Kansas City. 8 forced fumbles for the year. That's got to be right around an NFL record. Lowry kicks it off. A spinner that's short to Montgomery at the 10. Alton Montgomery tripped up by Benny Thompson. Let's go back to the touchdown, Derek Thomas.
Well, you'd think at some point after this fight breaks up, you'd think at some point the Broncos would try to at least help Russell Freeman. Come on now, fellas. You go to your sideline. You go to your sideline. Here's Freeman. Shannon Sharp releases, and Gaston Green is back here to try to help. But Thomas is just too quick. Russell Freeman barely puts a glove on this guy. You see the secret to the pass rush, that first step, get off the ball. And in games like this, Dick, coaches want their great players to make great plays. And Derek Thomas today, being the great player, he has fulfilled his responsibility. He's made the great plays.
Denver owner Pat Bowlen. Those are tough to look at. Elway.
Thomas.
Oh, Thomas from behind, and that could have been close to a penalty. And Reeves wanted it. He said, hey, my guy's already beaten up. Thomas doing enough. Don't let him tackle him out of bounds.
Thomas is playing like a man possessed, Dick. They had Russell Freeman and 62 Davidson on him. He still gets by. There's 62, the guard. Freeman's already on the ground. Almost catches Elway.
Elway started to ease up, not knowing that Thomas was there, and that could have been a flag.
The only mistake he's made today.
That's right. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a touchdown, and then he forced that other interception that went for a touchdown. Draw to Green. Bill Moss makes the stop at the 30, where it'll be 3rd and 1.
You know, we've talked a lot about Derek Thomas. Coming into this game, he'd not had a sack in the last month, but John Elway expected a big game from him. Said on AstroTurf, one of the great speed rushers in the game.
And the Chiefs say there's a fumble, and they've got it. Half the Kansas City team out on the field. No confirmation from the officials. And they're saying he's down at the 31-yard line, which will be very close to a first down. They may have to measure here.
The ball is loose. There's no question about that. The players are watching the big screen here at Arrowhead Stadium, and from behind the offense, the angle you just saw that we gave you, clearly a fumble.
And Denver gets a first down. Trailing 28-13. 11:25 to go. Marty Schottenheimer doesn't have the 21-point lead, but he's got better than a 2-touchdown lead. 3 of those scores coming on defense. The Chiefs defense has produced, 6 touchdowns on interceptions, 11 touchdowns total on returns. Elway underneath to the tight end Johnson. His 4th catch today. A gain of about 7. Benny Thompson, an extra defensive back, and a prime plan B pickup by Kansas City made the stop.
Derek Thomas is on the sideline for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think just catching his wind here. He's been rather busy throughout this football game. Of course, 2 weeks ago had a strained neck. Last week, the entire Kansas City Chiefs shut out for sacks against the New York Giants.
On 2nd and 3. Through the hands of Mark Jackson. And here comes Derek Thomas back in. He has 13.5 sacks this year. That matches last year's total. His second year was his top count. He had 20 to lead the league. He has, with his 8 forced fumbles this year, in just 4 years, there's his sack numbers. Now you add to that forced fumbles, which I think is the most overlooked statistic of all. In 4 years, he now has 21 forced fumbles. Elway. Oh, and Thomas got him again. Is it a fumble? No, they're all looking at each other. No official has made a call.
No signal.
And apparently they're saying he's down. And a flag is down in the backfield of the Broncos. No fumble, apparently, judging from Neil Smith's reaction.
We have a runner down by contact, holding 67 offense.
Weidel, right guard with the hold, so that one will come back. Dan Reeves down by a 28-13 score, and he's had a couple of calls go his way here on this possession.
Again now, Elway looking not real far downfield, but out in the flat. The hit, Thomas, 58, hits him on that sore left shoulder. Going to have the impingement syndrome on his left shoulder that he had on his right shoulder last offseason. But Thomas never gives up on a play.
It was a good call. It was ground or the turf causing the fumble.
Correct.
And then the penalty takes it back to the 29-yard line, but it'll be 3rd and 13. Look at that, 21 forced fumbles, 63 games. Just think what that means. I mean, that's 40 yards of real estate each time he creates one of those. Elway uses a timeout. That poor Russell Freeman didn't know there was timeout called, and he pulled off the line again. Is he going to have some nightmares for a few days after this experience against Derek Thomas? Just under 10 minutes to go. Just the hits and the pressure that have frustrated Elway today. Catch the ball. And then on this last play, receiver lined up improperly, and he has to spend angrily a timeout. He's 15 for 31 today, 177 yards. He had his best game of the season against Kansas City. The game won 311 yards. Neil Smith got in 3 times in that game. Now it's Thomas out of the backfield is Shannon Sharp, wrapped up for a short gain by Kahan Lewis. At the 33 they'll mark it, and it'll bring up 4th down and about 9.
And he's staying in there. He's staying in there.
Now trailing by more than 2 touchdowns and 9:20 to go. Dan Reeves figures that we're not going to get the ball enough times. You got to try to maintain possession here. Not an easy spot. 4th and a long 8. This could be the play that gets Kansas City in the playoffs. And it does. And it could be another Thomas moment. He couldn't pick it up. Thomas had a touchdown if he could have picked up the bounce. KC gets it at the 13. Neil Smith recovered.
Boy, Elway got up sore. Neil Smith comes from the top of the screen. This time he beats Ken Lanier, gets his hand. John Elway falls on that right shoulder. Thomas can't get it. Benny Thompson, I think it's recovered by Denver, but it's 4th down, so the ball goes over to Kansas City.
But it was Neil Smith who made the play. So you give a little extra help to stop Thomas, and you single up on Neil Smith. That's what happened in game 1 when Smith had 3 sacks of Elway. And Todd McNair, Elway says, hey, I've been handled enough today. 6 times he was sacked for a minus 56 yards. And now frosting time for Kansas City as Williams gets to the 11-yard line and Mecklenburg makes the stop. Well, you wonder now, regardless of what happens with 8+ minutes to go, whether you put Elway back in.
I think that's a very good question, Dick. I think Dan Reeves is very sensitive to the health of John Elway, facing another shoulder surgery. The season is coming to an end unless something just totally impossible is done. Atwater's out with a knee. Maddox is warming up behind the bench, I see, Dick. I think John Elway's season, afternoon and season, is over.
2nd down and 7. Williams to the 5-yard line. Mecklenburg again with a stop along with Alton Montgomery.
It's a shame the last play of his season ends on this. This has been a frustrating year for John Elway. Told us yesterday when we talked to him, he so much looked forward to that game last week. And sitting on the sideline for 4 weeks, he just couldn't wait to get back and play. And I said, have you ever missed any extended period of time before that? And he said, I had knee surgery when I was in high school. The last time I missed any amount of time playing football.
Christian Okoye comes in on 3rd down and 2. First time we've seen him today. Kimball Anders, the blocking back. Fake to Okoye. Touchdown, Jonathan Hayes. Shutout for the year. He gets 2 today. They can celebrate in Kansas City. They're in the playoffs.
When the defensive back Lilo Lane comes up, Jonathan Hayes comes open, and he's going to go to the offensive coaches starting tomorrow. If in fact both feet were in the end zone, they're still going to give him the score and say, I told you I've been open all season. I've been open all season, coach.
Nick Lowry to try for the point. This game apparently has been won by Kansas City. Most of you around the nation will be switching to what could be a major upset in New England. Miami's chances for home field threatened by the upstart Patriots right after this.
We want to welcome all of you who have been watching Kansas City and Denver.